I'm going to do something a little bit different today, right? I want to do a presentation. I've got a couple things that I want to make sure I talk about and I touch on. Now, I'm going to read something to you guys. And again, I don't have all this text memorized, so I have to read it from my laptop. So if you guys see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my laptop, okay? When I started off on semen retention, I quickly became a little bit extreme regarding women, okay? I had that phase too, guys. And I would always think, okay, so if they're depleting me, if everything having to do with them is draining, what's the point of women, right? What's their purpose? One important thing that this perspective lacked is the fact that whoever you consider the ultimate architect, whatever it is, whoever it is, it may have no gender. The architect included men and women in this journey of life. So if you ignore everything that I'm about to read for you guys in a second, and you just keep things really simple, man, woman, we're put on this earth. There's an architect, much smarter than any of us, right? Created perfection, put the two of us on the planet. I really feel as if there's no way we were meant to avoid our other half. So when we really start to understand things and you start realizing things, right? All roads are going to lead back to the divine masculine and the divine feminine, right? And that is ultimately where true alchemy, right? True self-actualization, from a man's perspective and a woman's perspective, that's where you find that. If you are not in a relationship with a woman, you should be retaining your energy. As a single man, the only thing that's better than semen retention as a single man is semen retention in a loving union with a woman that you love, right? A higher frequency woman that you love. If you ever watched that video, if you guys read my ebook, I linked to a video, right, on porn. And in that video, you guys heard of, I think I probably talked about Gurdjieff, and Samuel Onwar and a couple others, but we're going to focus on Samuel Onwar, and he was a Gnostic teacher. Huge piece of the puzzle when it came to me understanding the life force and really evolving past the fact that, oh, we don't need women, women, they're draining our energy. There's more to it, okay? Samuel Onwar, a key figure in modern Gnosticism, taught that sexual magic, non-ejaculatory sex, is a sacred practice to harness sexual energy for spiritual growth. Unlike ejaculation, which he viewed as a loss of vital life force, sexual magic involves retaining semen to transmute he called this the ens seminis, and it's his way of saying sexual energy, right? This process detailed in his book, The Perfect Matrimony, and I recommend you guys check it out. He's got many books, but this one's really good. This process uses the energy to awaken higher consciousness and form solar bodies for spiritual evolution. Now, for a man who's going a very long time on semen retention, this practice doesn't deplete energy, but channels it upward through the spine to the brain, activating dormant areas of your brain. War's teachings emphasize that this energy, known as sexual hydrogen, Si-12, is the most potent force in the body, and conserving it through sexual magic leads to physical rejuvenation and spiritual awakening, making it a cornerstone of his alchemical philosophy. Now, some of you guys are seeing, okay, hydrogen Si-12, what the fuck is that? Onwar and George Gurdjieff, these are two people who talked about this. Sexual hydrogen Si-12 refers to a specific type of hydrogen, the highest form of transformed energy from food, particularly related to sexual energy. It is also considered the highest hydrogen produced by humans without conscious effort. This concept is part of a broader system that views human behavior and transformation through the lens of cosmic and cellular processes. When a man on semen retention engages in sexual magic with a woman of higher frequency, someone vibrating with love, spiritual awareness, and positive energy, right? A lot of guys ask, so what is a spiritual woman, or what is a higher frequency woman? I think this puts it very well. Someone vibrating with love, spiritual awareness, and positive energy. So when a man merges his energy with a woman like that, their energies merge to create something extraordinary. Ward's teachings suggest that this union, called Sahaja Madhuna, I may be pronouncing it wrong, blends masculine and feminine energies into a third force. To me, this is beautiful. I think I'm reading this, I'm thinking about colors, something as simple as colors. You blend, yellow and blue and you get green, right? You blend red and yellow and you get orange. It's beautiful. So to think that something doesn't happen when it's done correctly, hey, this is especially powerful when the relationship is rooted in mutual love and spiritual intent. So it can't be some fucking, you can't just be out here fucking. This is what makes us different than animals, right? This is why we're called a human being. The woman's higher frequency acts like a catalyst, amplifying the man's transmuted energy, leading to spiritual and emotional growth for both of them. Tantric principles support this, describing how heart-centered, non-ejaculatory sex opens pathways to full-body energy experiences, dissolving ego boundaries and connecting partners to the divine. This synergy doesn't drain energy, but enriches both, fostering a deeper bond and shared spiritual evolution. Sexual magic, as taught by War, offers profound benefits beyond energy conservation. By avoiding orgasm, the practice intensifies hormonal production, stimulating the endocrine system and promoting cellular regeneration. War explains that the sexual hormones from retained semen enter the bloodstream, triggering glands like the thyroid and the adrenal to support mitosis, new cell formation, countering the degeneration of aging. This aligns with his view that sexual energy is a creative force, not just for procreation, but for building higher consciousness. Unlike ejaculatory sex, which he says causes brain atrophy over time. You guys know this, right? This shit makes you stupid. Non-ejaculatory sex rejuvenates the body and mind. Spiritually, it aligns partners with their higher selves, fostering clarity, creativity, and connection to the divine. For a man and his high-frequency partner, this practice becomes a sacred act of co-creation, amplifying their vitality and spiritual potential through disciplined, loving union. So the key words here is intent, love, discipline. Now, some argue that all sex, ejaculatory or not, drains a man's energy, but War's teachings challenge this view. Critics often focus on casual or ejaculatory sex, where energy loss is tied to orgasm, which War describes as an explosion of energy that escapes. In contrast, sexual magic is intentional, conserving energy through non-ejaculatory practices. This distinction is critical. Ejaculation depletes the body's vital reserves, while tantric sex transforms them into spiritual and physical strength. The controversy partly stems from the Western misinterpretations of Tantra, which overemphasizes sex while ignoring its spiritual depth. So Tantra is just not going into random women and, it might sound really corny to you guys, but love is the highest frequency. So if you're having tantric sex with random strangers, like random whores, and you don't love them, are you really practicing, sexual magic? Not really. That's where I can really side with the people who say all sex is draining, right? You're losing from that. This is on a woman you love, very likely a low frequency woman. You're losing energy there. So this is a very nuanced practice. You have to be doing this with a woman who loves you and a woman that you love on the reverse, right? Who you love as well. For a man on semen retention, sexual magic with a loving partner doesn't weaken him, but strengthens his energy field, proving critics wrong when the practice is done with discipline and spiritual alignment. War's sexual magic is rooted in alchemy, where sexual energy is transmuted like base metal into gold. This energy, stored in semen, is transmuted during non-ejaculatory sex into hormones that stimulate the endocrine system, promoting physical and spiritual vitality. For example, zoosperms, and it's basically just sperms, he calls it zoosperm, but it's sperm that's not getting ejaculated. Long story short, zoosperms transform into hormones that trigger gland activity, leading to cellular renewal and brain stimulation. Ward's lectures detail how this process counters aging and degeneration, unlike sexual abuse, which he links to brain atrophy. This stuff makes you stupid. In practice, a man and his high-frequency partner engage in a magnetic electrical exchange, channeling this energy upward to awaken higher consciousness. This alchemical union, driven by love and intent, creates a powerful regenerative force that elevates both partners' physical and spiritual states. So to attract someone that is going to be incredibly rare to find, you better be reflecting that energy, right? You better be higher frequency yourself. So this is the truth regarding sex. Sex, when done right, with the right partner, you're looking at a manifestation machine, right? That couple that's doing this the right way, like the world is their oyster, right? They're doing whatever it is that they're wanting. They're manifesting at a ridiculous rate. They're performing magic, to put it simply. So to think that, a lot of guys get it twisted. I'm gonna get on semen retention. It means I'm never gonna have sex again. Sex from the standpoint of like pleasure and, no intent, just really reckless. You probably don't want to be doing that, for the rest of your life. You want to approach sex differently. But to think it's something that you have to completely avoid and you can't have any, within a loving, union, and you guys are on the same page and whatnot, it's a little bit different. Funny enough, no one's ever really asked me. The other day I was on a phone call with somebody and he asked me, Ross, so how long has it been since you last had sex? In the beginning of my semen retention journey, I had a lady and we would practice, tantra the first 2 years, 2.5 years or so. And I wasn't ejaculating with her. And I think I leveled up the most spiritually during that time. Now, if I'm being honest, this wasn't the lady who I could see myself, being, it wasn't my wife, I didn't feel in my heart that was my wife. Did I have feelings for her? Of course, I love the woman, she loved me, so on and so forth, but deep down I knew that this wasn't the one for me. So that and thoughts like that, knowing this led to me wondering, okay, so what is it like to just be by myself, right? To be on this journey alone. And it's been 3.5 years of that since. So I do have nuance. My brother, same thing with him and his woman. 3 years of non-ejaculatory sex, and he's mastered it. And I've seen his woman change inside out. She's not the same woman that she was in the beginning, not at all. This stuff is a different game. It's a different game. So much more that goes to sex than men understand, and unfortunately, a lot of men are going to die never having figured this out. Now, the more you practice semen retention, the further you go on the journey, the more you're going to be able to understand and realize. We talk about, brain atrophy, right? Your brain just being in states to where you're not really utilizing all of it. Well, this practice activates it. So you cannot understand certain things. You will not understand certain things until you pay your dues, like step by step by step. That's why I've talked to guys. There are guys who literally don't even believe that holding in your life force does anything, right? The white stuff, that's what they call it, the white stuff that comes out. It's that sticky stuff, right? That's what they call it, the sticky goo. Well, it's supposed to come out. That's where they're at. So someone who's at that point, his brain's probably completely dormant, right? He's not really using a majority of his brain. He probably needs to, sit down and retain for a week or two to be able to, maybe there's truth to this, right? To be able to realize something more, right? It keeps itself. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think about sex in a relationship? Do you feel like it's draining, right? Even with a loving partner? What are your thoughts? I'm open. I'm open to any perspective. What are your thoughts on it? What are your experiences on it? Let's talk about it.